What if I told you that some of America's oldest sheep breeds, animals that once supported entire communities and cultures, are now teetering on the edge of extinction? These aren't just farm animals. They're living history, carrying the stories of Spanish explorers, native weavers, early colonists, and generations of small farmers. But there's another reason they matter. Their DNA holds the key to the survival of all sheep today. These heritage breeds carry unique genetic traits, resilience to harsh climates, disease resistance, and adaptability that modern commercial breeds often lack. Without them, the genetic diversity essential to keeping all sheep healthy and sustainable could be lost forever. Today we'll explore 5 rare heritage sheep breeds: the Florida Cracker, the Gulf Coast Native, the Jacob, the Navajo-Churro, and the Hog Island. Each one has an incredible story of survival, adaptation, and resilience, and each one carries genes that could shape the future of sheep farming. And by the end, you'll see why saving these sheep isn't just about farming. It's about protecting a piece of America's story and the genetic foundation of modern sheep before it disappears forever. Let's start in Florida, with a breed that nearly vanished, the Florida Cracker sheep. These sheep trace their roots back to the 1500s, when Spanish explorers first brought livestock to Florida. Over centuries, they adapted to the hot, humid climate and the tough grazing conditions of the Southeast. They became a vital part of early Florida homesteads and ranches. But here's the shocking part. By the mid-20th century, the Florida Cracker sheep was nearly gone. In fact, today there are fewer than 1,000 animals left in the entire country. What makes them special is their hardiness and adaptability, traits encoded in their DNA. They're parasite-resistant, able to thrive on sparse forage, and well-suited for low-input farms. Their wool is coarse, often used for rugs and blankets rather than fine garments, but their meat is lean and flavorful. As a Florida native myself, the Cracker sheep is especially meaningful. They're a living piece of the state's agricultural history, a reminder of how people once farmed and survived here. But they're more than history. Preserving the Cracker sheep protects genetic traits that could help other flocks withstand heat, disease, and difficult conditions. Including them on a farm isn't just about raising sheep. It's about keeping a piece of Florida's story and the genetic diversity of sheep alive. Now let's move across the South to another remarkable survivor, the Gulf Coast native sheep. Their story also begins with Spanish flocks in the 1500s. Over generations, these sheep became uniquely adapted to the Gulf Coast's sweltering heat, humidity, and parasites. Here's what sets them apart. They developed a natural resistance to internal parasites. For small farmers in warm climates, that's a priceless trait, saving money, time, and the health of the flock. But that resistance is more than a convenience. It's in their genes. Losing the Gulf Coast native would mean losing a genetic blueprint for resilience that modern breeds may not have. Just like the Florida Cracker, their numbers plummeted when industrial farming shifted to bigger, faster-growing breeds. At one time, Gulf Coast sheep numbered in the millions. Today, fewer than 2,000 remain. Their wool is soft and springy, prized by hand spinners, and their meat is mild and flavorful. But more importantly, they're living proof that resilience runs deep, both in history and in their DNA. For farmers seeking sustainable flocks, the Gulf Coast native is an invaluable ally. Now let's take a look at one of the most visually stunning sheep in the world, the Jacob. With their piebald black and white fleece and multiple horns, sometimes 2, even up to 6, Jacob sheep look like something out of a storybook. Their appearance alone has made them a favorite among heritage breed enthusiasts. But there's substance behind the beauty. Jacobs trace their origins back centuries, likely to the Middle East, before arriving in Britain. Colonists later brought them to America, where small flocks persisted on farms and estates. By the 20th century, Jacob sheep were rare. But thanks to dedicated breeders, their numbers have stabilized, though they remain a conservation breed. Their wool is a handspinner's dream, naturally colored in shades of white, brown, and black, so it doesn't require dye. Beyond their aesthetic appeal, Jacobs carry genetic traits for hardiness and low-maintenance care. For anyone wanting a sheep that's both historic and eye-catching, the Jacob is hard to beat, and preserving them safeguards genes that may be critical for other flocks in the future. Next, let's journey to the American Southwest, home of the Navajo-Churro sheep. These sheep were brought by Spanish settlers in the 1500s and quickly became central to the Navajo people's way of life. Their long, coarse wool is ideal for weaving the rugs and blankets that remain a cornerstone of Navajo artistry and culture today. But the Navajo-Churro nearly disappeared. In the 1800s and early 1900s, U.S. government programs deliberately targeted and destroyed Navajo flocks. By the 1970s, only a few hundred animals remained. Thanks to Navajo shepherds and conservation groups, the breed survived. Today, numbers are still small, but Navajo-Churros once again graze the Southwest, carrying with them a deep cultural legacy and genetic diversity vital to the survival of other sheep breeds. Their wool is prized for weaving, their meat is lean, and their ability to thrive in arid conditions makes them invaluable. But beyond their usefulness, they represent resilience, of both a people and a breed, and the genetic traits that could help all sheep endure challenging environments. Finally, let's head to the windswept barrier islands of Virginia, home of the Hog Island sheep. These sheep descend from flocks left by English colonists in the 1700s. Over centuries of isolation, they became hardy and self-sufficient, surviving hurricanes, salty forage, and the challenges of island life. But by the mid-20th century, Hog Island itself was abandoned. The human residents left, and only a handful of feral sheep remained. Without intervention, the breed could have vanished. Today, historic sites like Colonial Williamsburg and conservation farms keep small flocks alive. Their wool is medium-grade and versatile, their meat lean and flavorful, but what truly defines them is their history and their DNA. Every single Hog Island sheep carries genes honed over centuries that contribute to the resilience of all sheep. With only a few hundred left, preserving these traits is crucial for future flocks. As you can see, each of these breeds, the Florida Cracker, the Gulf Coast Native, the Jacob, the Navajo-Churro, and the Hog Island, carries a story of survival against the odds. And they all carry genes that modern flocks may one day rely on, traits for hardiness, disease resistance, and adaptability that you just can't reproduce overnight. But here's the truth. Without support, these sheep could disappear forever. Preserving them means preserving resilience, history, culture, and the DNA that keeps all sheep strong and adaptable. You don't have to be a farmer to make a difference. By learning, sharing, and spreading awareness, you help keep these breeds in the public eye, and that attention is crucial to their survival. If you would like to learn about other heritage livestock that are currently on the endangered list, check out the playlist at the end of this video or in the description below. Also, you can check out the link to the Livestock Conservancy website to take a deeper dive into learning about endangered heritage breeds, to locate breeders of these breeds, or to support the Livestock Conservancy by becoming a member. I don't have the resources to save these sheep personally, but I can help by spreading the word to those who do. And so can you. Awareness is sometimes all it takes for important actions to be set in place. Please share this video with others to help get the word out. Working together, we can make sure these rare sheep as well as other endangered livestock, and the history and genetic legacy they represent, aren't forgotten. I do appreciate you for taking the time to watch my video on this very important issue. If you found it meaningful, please take a moment to like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share it with others. Those simple actions help this message reach more people who care about heritage livestock and the future of small farming. Together, we can make it happen.